Today I'm going to show you how I prune and refine this Cotoneaster grouping. Hey everyone, it's Clive here and welcome back to the channel. So my goal today is I basically want to give this a small little prune. I also want to get some more light into the interior bits of the tree. I kind of want to, start pruning back all these long extensions of growth. You can see all these long shoots. So it's looking really healthy, so it's a perfect time to do this. So I also want to start creating a bit more layers between the trees and so on. And I'm basically going to just swing this tree around, but it's a really nice landscape I've done. You can see there's some rocks. That's the back of the tree. And the awkward thing about this grouping is that there's only 4 trees in it, which, with a guideline, generally you want to use, odd numbers, but you can see you can still achieve something fairly nice even just using even numbers. So potentially I may want to maybe add another tree somewhere towards the back of the tree, because odd numbers do tend to look a little bit nicer overall, but at the same time 4 isn't too bad. It's looking pretty great. So I'm going to start by pruning these long extensions over there. So I basically want to trim them right back to the silhouette of the tree. So generally about, the first 2 sets of leaves, I'm just going to come in and trim these back. Anything that's looking a little bit long, I want to trim it right back just to kind of see the shape of the tree again. See, I've got these long extensions. And this is really all about just maintaining your tree. Like I always say, it's always good to allow these extensions to grow, and then we want to trim them back. So it's always nice to start off with these long, strong shoots. What I really love about this tree is you can see how small the foliage has gotten. So this is from constant pruning, from allowing the tree to, be in a smaller pot. Over time you get really, really small leaves. It's taken many years, but it's really nice to see it when it actually happens. I'm going to swing the tree around just to see if there's any more long shoots. So next is I want to try start trimming some of the shoots that are growing right at the base, right underneath the canopy of the little trees. So I obviously can see I don't need any branches over here. The nice thing about this is that the trees are already quite refined. So I want to trim anything growing right at the base. This is kind of, again, what we call wasted foliage. So I'm going to come in and trim this whole big branch over there. And anything that I can see that is growing right on the base, I want to trim it off. Here's another little example. Right on the base there, I'm not going to need that, so I'm going to trim it right off. And the thing about Cotoneasters is they always going to have little shoots right at the base of them. So this is something, if you see them, you can just remove them unless you need them. But in this case, we definitely don't need them. So I'm just going to go around the tree, and just if I notice anything growing right on the base, I'm going to remove it. There's not too much growing on the base, as I have done this before this year. But there's still a few little ones right in here. Cool, looking good. So now you can kind of see that we've almost made these nice little pads to the tree, almost like clouds in the tree. So we kind of want to accentuate those. So if you can see anything growing directly downwards, that's always a good guideline. You want to trim that off. And this is only if it's going to get shaded off by the sun. We obviously don't want that. So anything growing down is always a good guideline. And anything that's really, almost if you can imagine that no sun can enter that section of the tree, that's kind of a really good spot to trim the foliage off. Because obviously, if it's not getting enough sun, it's just going to weaken and it's going to start dying off. So I'm just going to go around the tree lightly and just see if I can notice anything. So you could also potentially trim this like a hedge. You could come in and just start trimming all the leaves off. But I find that's not the best way to do it. I feel like it's so much better to just go and trim each little branch that is extended out. It's a much better way to trim trees. So I'm just swinging it around. And I can see there's quite a bit growing right in the interior bits. I'm going to trim those away. So you can also see by using fairly young little bonsai, you can create something really nice, having unity, having 4 together or 5 or 7. It's a really nice way to make something look way more impressive than having just one little tree in a small little pot. So it's really important to do this. You know, if I just left those extensions to grow wild and, you know, I just left them for a few years or even a few months, you know, it's going to start weakening the bottom sections of your tree. Because obviously all the energy is feeding those long extensions, and then all the hard work we've put into the tree, you know, it's just not going to look good anymore. So it's really important to allow the extensions to grow and then trim them back and kind of repeat that over time. So you can see by doing a few small little things, the trees, should I say, are looking a lot nicer. So I'm just going to continue to just prune anything I can see. If I see any weak little branches that the leaves are looking a little bit yellow, we can always either trim those off or we can just brush off those yellow leaves, make more room for new growth to come and form on the trees. And something you really just need to get stuck in. It's the only way you're going to learn. Kind of have to prune things, see how it responds, and that's just going to allow you to have more confidence when you trim things. And there's always going to be 1 or 2 little things that you do miss, but you can try get as much as you can. Please let me know down in the comments if you guys enjoy working with Cotoneasters. It's one of my favorites, especially when they start to flower, and also when you get those little berries on the little trees. It really works nicely. Also, what's really nice is the berries are quite small, so it kind of looks, you know, nice on a tree like this, because it would be awkward if the berries were so big. It kind of wouldn't work on the tree. I'm probably not going to get to pruning all of it today, but that's also okay. I'll come back and prune some more. I always like to look at it as if I'm just giving it a little service. Tend that we will buy like a car and we'll service it all the time, which sometimes we forget and kind of neglect our trees. Or we will buy a plant or a bonsai from someone and we'll kind of just never prune it. So it's really important to prune your trees. So this can also apply to, I don't know if you watched the bougainvillea video where I removed all the flowers or the bracts off the tree, but you can do the same to this. When it flowers, you can remove some of those flowers off, especially if you're still developing the tree, just to kind of restore its energy. But you can basically do that to any flowering bonsai. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. So if you want to know a little bit more about bonsai, I've got so many more detailed videos on this subject. So I hope you guys all have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.